Good, said the sentry. You may now go on. Luigi and Teresa again set forward. As they went on, Teresa clung tremblingly to her lover at the sight of weapons and the glistening of carbines through the trees. The retreat of Rocca Bianca was at the top of a small mountain, which no doubt in former days had been a volcano, an extinct volcano before the days when Remus and Romulus had deserted Elba to come and found the city of Rome. Teresa and Luigi reached the summit, and all at once found themselves in the presence of 20 bandits. "Here's a young man who seeks and wishes to speak to you," said the sentinel. "What has he to say?" inquired the young man who was in command in the chief's absence. "I wish to say that I am tired of a shepherd's life," was Vampa's reply. "Ah, I understand," said the lieutenant. "And you seek admittance into our ranks?" "Welcome!" cried several bandits from Ferracino, Pampinara, and Anani, who had recognized Luigi Vampa. "Yes, but I came to ask something more than to be your companion." "And what might that be?" inquired the bandits with astonishment. "I come to ask to be your captain," said the young man. The bandits shouted with laughter. "And what have you done to aspire to this honor?" demanded the lieutenant. "I have killed your chief, Cucumetto, whose dress I now wear. And I set fire to the Villa San-Felice to procure a wedding dress for my betrothed." An hour afterwards, Luigi Vampa was chosen captain. Vice Cucumetto deceased. Okay. Luigi is now the captain of the bandits. And we knew this was coming, I think. I find it interesting. Again, this is one of those things where I never quite know how to read it. And it's funny because if I'm left to my own devices reading it alone, not out loud, not having to give it any level of performance, not that I would call this a performance, but I would read the lines and they would enter my head on a very archetypical level without then questioning the intent of them. If there is a sort of like, you know how you can say something sarcastically, the words written down without tone can have the exact opposite meaning of what you're actually saying. Like, "Ooh, I love anchovies." You write that down, it says like, "Ooh, I love anchovies." But so I'm having a hard time with sometimes like this passage, knowing that the way I'm reading it, I'm not sure if I'm putting my finger on the scale, because if I am putting my finger on the scale, it's completely blind. I don't know who these characters are in the long term yet. So let me pull out a specific line to give you an example. When Luigi says that he wants to be their captain, he says, "I come to ask to be your captain." Now, I'm playing that in juxtaposition to the kind of raucous nature of the bandits that are surrounding him. The way that I was reading it was just like, okay, let's take the opposite approach. They're all laughing. They're all shouting proclamations of welcome to Luigi Vampa, those who at least recognize him, so that in order to have a dramatic impact, it has to have a kind of steady hand to it. What's the opposite of all of this kind of chaos? It's quietness, and it's a direct statement. "I come to ask to be your captain." However, where the doubt comes in for me is that Luigi is not saying, "I've come to be your captain." It's, "I come to ask to be your captain." And then my doubt is compounded further when there's no like back and forth about this. He just states that he killed Cucumetto, and then the next line is, "An hour afterwards, Luigi Vampa was chosen captain." So I just hope my interpretation isn't completely misreading the situation. And what I mostly worry about is that by establishing a character in a certain tonality, it's solidifying in our minds who that character is the next time they show up. And if I'm slightly miscalibrated, then the next time they show up can feel jarring or inconsistent with their character. I started this chapter admitting insecurity, and now I'm ending this chapter admitting insecurity. Oh boy, what are we doing here, folks? What are we doing here? Still don't know what the hell this story has to do with anything. Why do we spend a month talking about Luigi Vampa? I know Luigi Vampa better than I know Franz and Albert at this point, for goodness sake. Dante only briefly touches the story, so, oh man. We still have one more day to go, though, and maybe Pastrini is going to tell us what this was all for. Or maybe that's chapter 34. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. The world looks so different than it did when we started this chapter. I'm upside down. I mean, what do we think of the story? Not the Count of Monte Cristo, but what do we think of, like, if we looked at Luigi Vampa's story as a short story? How do we feel about it? It's exciting. It's got twists and turns. It takes us somewhere. There's transformation. I'd say it's pretty good. I'd not say it's over yet. I don't know where it's ending. We're just ending with him assuming the role of captain of these bandits. To do what? What kind of leader will he be? One that leads him to be one of the dangerous bandits in Rome. That's all I know. But I'll tell you what, since I gotta talk about the Patreon now, I'm going to leave the commentary a little bit short, and hopefully we get our answers tomorrow. And I hope you'll bear with me, because I went this whole chapter without promoting the Patreon. Almost a full month. And folks, your contributions are essential to making the show happen. We have set a goal to just have the network pay for itself. We're not out to be making tons and tons of money here. And we're about halfway there. We're about halfway to our goal, and every single contribution helps. I can tell you what you get for it, which is, the story-only audio of each chapter as we finish them. So tomorrow, chapter 33 in its entirety, I don't know how long it's going to be, maybe an hour long, will be available to you to listen as kind of a traditional audiobook experience. You get extra short stories that I read from time to time. And coming up in May, we are going to have a supporter month where we are giving back to you, all of you listeners. During that month, there's going to be a flurry of bonus content for all of our shows on the network. You can certainly sign up for free on patreon.com/gruntworkpod. That will get you access to some of the good stuff that we have available. But contributions start as little as $1, can go as high as you want. And they're really going to help us continue to grow as a network, continue to see these shows through to the end, and really importantly, keep the shows available after they've ended. So when we're done reading The Count of Monte Cristo, the show doesn't just disappear. It has to continue to live and be out there in the world and hopefully attract people to whatever project we move on to next. Your contributions make that happen. Whatever you can offer, we deeply, deeply appreciate. That's patreon.com/gruntworkpod. I've said this before. I've been saying this for a year. If you can't contribute, I totally get that. Totally appreciate it. Would still encourage you to go sign up for free over there to be able to stay up to date with things. But you can also leave us a rating, a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can subscribe and comment on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. Give us 5 stars. Does not need to be a long review, but anytime there's activity in those comment sections, in those review sections, it shows the algorithm of those platforms that this show has value. And then that value translates into appearing to new people. So it is a very easy, simple, fast way for you to support the show without contributing anything financially. You can also send somebody the podcast feed or the YouTube channel that you know personally, because that is a very efficient way to get people to actually listen to the show. I know of multiple people already who listen to the show purely because someone they knew thought that they might like it. And I deeply appreciate every single one of you who have shared the show and continue to share the show with new people. I asked this recently, and I'm going to ask again, how do we feel about Discord? Is that a platform we want to support in this precarious age of tech companies overreaching with what they're asking of its users? I don't know. It's just something that we've historically used, but I do not abide by the idea that we do things because it's the way we've always done them. We can change. If you have any thoughts on a better place to better have discussions, we are very open to that. If you don't want to engage with Discord, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Let us know there if there's a different place that we should be exploring. And with that, that's the penultimate episode of Chapter 33 in the bag. We only got one more, folks. Join me here tomorrow as we wrap up Chapter 33. Whew, it's been a long one. We did it. We did it. We did it. Until tomorrow. Okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.